In a world clouded by noise,
Truth is waiting in the quiet
it whispers.
until someone dares to listen.
She is the Oracle, Tammy Demirza, a world-renowned intuitive.
A messenger of what's hidden
She sees what others cannot.
and speaks the truths you have been seeking. And he is the master, Sifu Raphael, a master instructor, strategist,
A guide who leads with discipline
turning wisdom.
into action. Together,
We awaken what's been buried
we ignite the hunger for truth,
and we challenge illusions.
guiding you to your next level of power. Two powerful souls unite to awaken what's been buried.
To break what's been bound and to speak what others want. The Oracle,
And the Master,
it's time.
Breaking down illusions. But today we're breaking down walls. I love it.
I have to tell you that every single time that I see this intro, which I enjoy every single time, I'm taken back to that hotel room where we sat and talked. And then you standing in front of that billboard in Times Square and watching it roll back around, Jumbotron, they call them, watching it run back around and seeing whatever it was I was doing. I was on a Jumbotron twice within 3 months with books and speaking engagements. I think it was a speaking engagement, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have such fond memories of that day, and it's so good to be with you again.
Absolutely. I love the connection that we established that particular day. That was, to me, that was very special.
It was. It was. I
And,
appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, likewise. I'm interested in the different ideas and concepts that we're going to be able to share today, and how we may be able to help some people who may be going through something or need to get out of something, because we're talking about tearing walls down. And the way I see it is, what walls? What do you mean by that?
Yes, I was about to say, probably need to cover that first. What is a wall to you?
Mm. I think that the walls are foundational, right? First, we have to start with the foundation, I believe, in order to build an actual wall. And the foundation is the core of who we are. Um, but we didn't always build even the foundation ourselves, because the foundation is just, it's also walls. It's walls that are deep, and they, think of a tree, right? It's the roots, and that's the foundation. And without the foundation, and if you actually, I've been in construction, so I know how to build around. I know how to build foundations, and I built too many of them. And it's creating something that can hold everything else up. And I think we need to start at the foundation, and those are walls, but people don't see them as walls. But because I've built them, I know they are. Um, because it depends on the size of the building, and also it winds up being depending on the size of our life, that where our foundation truly is settled in. And with all great foundations, it has to move with the ground. And so we, even though we're grounded, we need to continually move.
Mhm. So
That's my
to
first.
you, let me see if I get this. So to you, a wall is something that holds the foundation and its strength and its power. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but the walls are built in the foundation. think of a wall that you turn to your left, turn to your right, you're going to see a wall.
Mhm.
But if you're able to have X-ray vision and look down, the foundation is just the wall is this thin. The foundation is just maybe 3 to 4 times thicker than that, but it is still solid on both sides. And then it's deep so that it can be stable. And I believe that that's the best way I can see it.
Okay. So with the title today, Tearing Down the Walls, tell me what you want us to get from that illustration of the foundation and the wall and the foundation. How does that go with today, tearing down the walls? I want to know what your thoughts are.
Well, who built the foundation? And can we reconfigure it? Because in the kind of work that I've done in the past, I did interior design architecture. I've actually been physically doing the work because my hands, I just love creating. And sometimes we need to move things around because they don't serve the purpose anymore. And sometimes, if you've ever seen a building being moved, it's incredibly crazy that they can move a building, but they uplift it from the actual foundation and they move it, but they have to create a new foundation in order to settle it back on top. So do we need to break down what we've already have had in the past in order to get a better view, a better idea, a stronger foundation?
I like where you're going with this, and now I think I understand. I think what you're saying is that we create our realities in this world, and we build these walls to hold certain things into place, right?
Mhm,
To
mhm.
feel safe at the moment or whatever it is. But then change is inevitable. It's the one guarantee we have. We also have the guarantee of our life ending. So you're saying that just because you built a foundation, just because you did something, doesn't mean you live in it for the
Right.
rest of your life. You're talking about tearing down the walls and building new ones or moving them or shifting them.
Mm.
That's a powerful thing. I'd love for you to go a little bit further.
Well, think about it. As a baby, right? Our parents, everything for me, the way I look at it is think of a celebrity, right? And there's different kinds of celebrities. And the reason that they're celebrities because they have different skills or their skills are honed. But a celebrity, especially a movie star, doesn't play themselves. They're playing a different persona. And for the really great ones, they have to encapsulate that persona. So if you've ever heard of stories of incredible ones, they're that persona 24/7 till the role is over. So they have to encapsulate and think of themselves being that person. And then that role is done, it's finished, then they go back to who they were. But a tiny, tiny little bit of that persona is going to get inside of them
Yeah.
because they've been thinking about it, being that person. Now they take a different role, and maybe it's a different persona. Maybe it's a total contrast. And so now they're living as that person. I think without being a celebrity, we can cast ourselves into the movie of our life. But what do we want? And why do we keep playing the same role over and over again when there's an opportunity every day to be in your own movie?
Yeah. It's funny that you're talking about this because I watch GMA and I go back. I watch it on Hulu so I don't have to watch all the commercials. And when I'm out of town, it's been a lot, I'm catching up on things that are days ago or a week ago. And this morning, Tim Allen and oh goodness, Tom Hanks was being interviewed, and they were talking about summoning those characters, basically.
Hmm.
And Tim was saying that on the way to the recording studio, they didn't record at the same time. And he said on the way, he's saying, "Come on, Buzz, come on, Buzz, come on, Buzz, come on." And he's summoning that. He said the voice wasn't there.
Hmm.
And on the drive to the studio, he's summoning that. They do embody it. And I just was in Colorado 2 weeks ago, and I was with a very famous actress. And her name is Beth. I have to remember what her last name was. But she was actually talking to us, Sifu, about how to get into character and what the method is and how to look at our lives kind of along the line of what you're talking about. Of we were being told to come up with, like Beyonce has Sasha on stage, our 7-figure persona, our 7-figure being. And she was talking about how to stand and introduce that person and what she's like and talk about the character. And she said some really profound things. She was saying, you don't define the character, you decide what the character is. And she's worked with some of the top names. She said she had a part with Julia Roberts one time, and she completely messed it up because she was so in awe of her. She said, she did great, I did horrible. But she's in musicals, she's in all kinds of theater productions. And listening to her talk about it and how you prepare, I think in some ways, you talking about tearing down these walls or building new walls and then setting the foundation for it is kind of in alignment with what this famous actress was teaching us, this last week. It was this last week. It was amazing because I didn't realize the depth of what they go through, in order to play these parts. And I asked her a striking question, and she looked at me and she went, "That is a great question." I said, "Out of all the characters that you played, which one made the biggest impact on your life?" Because they take on these characters so much that they actually take something from it. And she said her favorite character to play is a woman who knows who she is and she knows what she wants. And she doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about it. She said, to me, that is something I take away from those characters. She said, it's my favorite role to play, where it really doesn't matter. And I think in some ways, we have to get to that point. Nobody else really has to understand why we're doing what we're doing, why we think the way we do, why I travel as much as I do, why you do what you do. We don't need for them to understand. We just need to be. And that is really striking, isn't it?
I love that you said that, because anybody who knows me knows that I don't live my life for others. I don't. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's on you. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm doing the wrong thing, please call me out. And then I'll decide if I'll continue doing it or not. So a lot of people are living the lives that their parents wanted them to live. A lot. Some of them are still in their 50s and 60s and 70s and still living the life that their parents wished for them to live, and they're carrying that with them. And yet they have this pain inside of them. Instead of breaking free and being who they're meant to be. So yes, I do believe in God, and God has called me to live my life the way I'm living it, to help as many people as I possibly can, to do all the different things, to give things away, not to be judgmental, but to see another human being as a beautiful soul. And so, and if you don't agree with me, that's your problem. It's not mine. Not my problem. But I'm not living my life for others. I'm living it so I can sustain happiness in my life. So I can put my head down on my pillow at the end of the night and say, today was an amazing day. As great as my day was today, I want tomorrow to be even brighter, even better, even sharper, even more amazing. But it's because I tore down the walls that were put upon me. When I came from Colombia, I was one-dimensional. I was a little boy who spoke Spanish and who was lost.
Mm.
I came to this country and nobody spoke Spanish where I was planted, if you will, right? My roots were up leveled. I was okay where I was. I got uprooted, thrown here, rerouted, and said, fend for yourself, because nobody in my school spoke Spanish. None of the kids, none of the teachers. My dad taught me how to walk to school once, and it was a little bit over 2 miles. At 8 years old, one time he walked me to school, we walked back, he goes, now you know how your way. And I had to figure it out. And every day I walked to school. It didn't matter if it was raining, if it was sunny, if it was a snowstorm, I walked to school. Now, mind you, I'm walking to school and it's pouring rain. I don't have an umbrella. I know that I have to go from point A to point B. I just keep walking.
Wow.
I get to school, I'm soaked. And the teachers look at me like, what's going on? So they went scrounging around and they found things that were lost and found, and they gave me clothes. And of course, some of them didn't fit me or whatnot, but it didn't matter. They were so nice to me. But meanwhile, they can't even communicate with me because I don't speak their language. They don't speak mine. But it took time for me to learn English. And I think it was the best lessons I ever had, where nothing was given to me. And had I stuck out where I was a one dimension, I don't think I would be the person I am today.
Everything can be used to shape us instead of crippling us.
That's
Right?
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is very cool. Very, very cool. For me, tearing down the walls in this subject is very intimate and personal. And I've been through two things. I was in Vegas with Dr. Teresa Goss, and then I was in Florence, Italy with Hilary DeCesar. These are two people that are very important in my life right now. And so Hilary is one of my coaches and has been since last September. And there's a movie coming out this September, actually in the movie theater that I was filmed in. And Marie Diamond, who was on the movie The Secret, is in it. And we're going to a red carpet event with formal dresses and the whole, show thing. It's very cool. So I was with Tigo and I was in this group there were 6 of us. And Dr. Teresa Moros was also there. And she's one of the best speakers I think I've ever heard. The way that she speaks, the way she carries herself, what she overcame. This woman had a car accident that wasn't even her fault, that did some brain damage. She could not remember past 10 seconds.
Wow.
And she got up and did a TEDx talk. She
Mm.
gained like hundreds of pounds. She's not a big girl. She gained a couple of 100 pounds.
Mm.
And because she couldn't even speak for 2 years.
Mm.
And then when she finally overcame that, she did a TEDx talk, not remembering past 10 seconds. I mean, that's extraordinary. So she's in the 6 of us, and she's actually teaching. And I realized on the very first night that we were recording in Tico's studio, I realized you're professional, you're engaging, you're polished, but you're too professional, too polished, too much the consummate trained speaker. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And it's funny because even on the GMA show this morning that I was watching, there was a guy that actually got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and he was saying people are really looking for authentic. They're looking for honesty. They're looking for, and see, this is where my tearing my walls down
Right.
comes in. So I told Tigo, I said, sweetheart, one of the things that happened was that when I walked in, she went, oh my God, you have no idea who just walked in this room. And that kind of separated me from the rest of the women, because I was like, oh, please don't, please, just let me be equal, to them. And Tigo was just like raving. They were all already there. And I was not late, but they were very early. And I thought, you're not really fitting in. So I thought, what can I do to tear down the walls between me and them? Because of how Tigo introduced me and said, you wouldn't believe who this is. And she spoke to the United Nations. She did this. And I'm like, I just want to be with them. So the thing that I did was I wrote Tigo and I said, look, I'm realizing that I'm too trained and I'm professional and I'm engaging and I'm polished, but I can't do that anymore. It is good to be trained. It is good to take the courses and to train with some of the best speaker coaches in the United States, which is what I've done. But it's got to be more personal. It's got to be more intimate. And I knew I was missing that mark. So I texted Tico and said, I want your help. And then I texted the group. And when I said to them, I'm struggling, this is tearing down your walls, I'm struggling. And I'm too polished and too sophisticated and too, speaker training. And I'm going to have to tear down my walls. When I walked in that next morning, Sifu, immediately I was accepted and I was one of them. So I want the audience to look at how can you tear down walls, supposed walls that other people feel that they have with you. It could be, in my case, the way that I was introduced and they were already there, which I didn't know them. Or it could be a wall with an intimate partner, or it could be a wall with a boss. It could be a wall with a coworker. It could be a wall with a family member. How do we tear down those walls? So that process really stuck out in my mind. And on the very last day, Dr. Teresa Morales was up there and she said, give me a 3 to 5 minute speech. She worked on us. She talked to us and I thought, okay, I'm just going to do my thing. And the first thing I said was, I'm sitting in the bathtub. And the only thing that I have that is positive is the warmth of the water. You see, I'm sitting there realizing that everything I had been stolen. And I am homeless. And I got to face it. And I don't know how to overcome that. How do you suddenly one day realize, come to the truth, that you've lost everything? It's not coming back. It's gone. And it's $284,000. That's a lot of money. And I talked about the suicide. She said, when I finished, she said, no. And I said, why? She said, well, number one, you're way too attractive to bring up the subject of you being in the bathtub, because I'm not a lesbian and I wanted to see what you look like. That tore down the wall. I'm like, oh, okay, so I can't, this other people told me to talk about the bathtub. So she said, no, 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 you can't do that. You're too attractive. She said, because my mind automatically went to, well, what would else she look like? And I went, oh God, I do not want to create that. Then she took what I shared and she created that same story, but in a way, Sifu, that I was crying. I was on the side. I'm getting emotional now. I was crying hearing her telling that story from such an authentic wooing the people in. Engaging is one thing.
Mm.
Really getting in the trenches with it. And the way that she did it, and Tico said to me, oh, Tammy, you're good. You are good. Your words are good. You're engaging. You're polished. You're professional. Look at the way you dress. You're very stylish. But I swear to God, when I looked at you, it was like I was looking at your eyes through plexiglass. I couldn't really see your eyes. Where are you? And I went, God, talk about tearing the walls down, Sifu. You're getting this from two of the really good speakers, and you're sitting here going, oh, well, when Dr. Moraz did that for me, I couldn't even speak. I was literally, my whole body was shaking and going, you just showed me what I'm missing in me. That wall's got to come down. The wall has got to come down. So I listened to what she said. Tico had just brought lunch in, and I said, I can't speak right now because I was still crying. Let's have lunch, and then I'll do it. I figured I'd have to do it 6 or 7 times. A lot of the women were having to retake. I wasn't really having to do that, but this time I thought probably for 4 or 5 times until I tear the wall down and really let people see me. It might take me 6 or 7 times. I'm not sure. And so what happened is right after lunch, she said, are you ready? I said, yes. So I straightened out my makeup and I got up there and the lights are on and the camera and action and let's go. And I don't even know what I said, but I didn't repeat what she said because I couldn't remember it. And I had to be authentic. I had to just say it. I didn't bring up the bathtub except that I had decided to commit suicide. And as soon as I finished, I thought, she's going to say no. The girls were like clapping. And she said, perfection. And I went, what? And I thought, well, what did I do? And how did I do it? How do you tear the walls down to really be vulnerable and let people see you? How do you... I don't even know what I did. I don't even know how to get back there again. Well, it's so funny because I took the red eye that night and I arrived home the very next morning. I slept for a little bit. I had a date and I'm sitting across the table from my date. Very good conversation. And he said something kind of funny and I laughed and he said, your eyes just lit up. Your eyes are twinkling. You just came in. And I went, oh my God, I'm doing this in my personal life too. And when Tico talked about my eyes on the second time, she's like, your eyes are twinkling like stars. I'm telling you, light was coming out of your eyes. And I'm like, well, how do I get back there? How do I do that again? What happened when the guy said something funny? It disarmed me and my wall came down. I don't think we realize sometimes the importance of the walls, and when it's appropriate, to your point, to have the walls and have them in a solid foundation and be able to move those walls and change it with the changes that you're making because you grow. And then the inner walls of don't really see me. Don't. I'm going to present. I'm on the stage. I'm going to let you see something I feel comfortable with you seeing. So then I am in Florence, Italy, and I am with Amelia Antoinetti, who is a multi-billionaire who Jeff Bezos goes to evaluate businesses to buy. And she is watching me. And so I just get up when it's my turn and said, I got some walls to tear down. And she said, talk to me. And I said, because I'm afraid, because I don't function like most people, because I have these abilities, it's been very painful to be this way and be rejected and be misunderstood and have to explain yourself all the time because of your abilities, because of what you know, and people lying in front of you, and they're lying because you have these abilities, because you can read it, and they're trying to pretend that they're not lying. And I said, it's difficult. It's just difficult being here. I don't feel I belong anywhere. And she saw me. And then Hillary said, I want you to close your eyes and tell me how big the wall is. I said, kind of like the wall in Berlin that was torn down. She said, tear it down. That if you see me, will you accept me? If you see me, are you going to be mean to me? If you see me, I may feel vulnerable or exposed. Well, let me tell you, tore the walls down. But this has been a process of my entire life.
Mm.
And had I not had those two people in my life, and coaches and, professionals working with me, I don't know that I could have. And now I can tell, Sifu, especially like going out on a date or something, I can tell when the wall's rising, like I'm watching you. I'm just going to watch you rather than just being present. And I think with what you do, the being present thing is something that you could actually talk to, because the way that the body functions and what you do and how you train it, you've really got to turn inwards and pay attention and be fully present in order to do that. And that's kind of what tearing down the walls is for me, only because have gone through and am still going through this process of don't put your wall up. Don't put your wall up. It can be a defense mechanism. It can be a safety thing, but we don't really need it to be a defensive mechanism. When it comes to letting people know us, if we all just walked around and we were authentic and we were real and we were honest and we were lively and ready for life, I wonder what the world would be like. What would it look like? And people notice. They notice. And they see the difference. So now I can tell that people are looking at me and going, like, I got on a plane from Colorado Saturday morning early, and this very famous makeup artist was flying from Atlanta to Greenville. Now she wants me to work with her. She was here in Greenville. There's a movie being filmed here quite a few times. And she was doing the makeup artistry, and she was showing me the actor that she's working with. Funny that I was just with the famous actress, or actor, they call it, in Colorado. And then I'm here on a plane beside a makeup artist for these famous actors. And I sat down, and she was so effervescent. And she went, well, hello. And I'm like, okay, my walls are down. She sees me. And now she wants me to be her mentor. She was hungry. If I didn't have the wall down, how would she see me? How would she? And she's texting me and going, God sent you to me. I said, well, you were asking. And I was talking to her and saying, let me guess, you've had this and this and this and this and this. Yes. And I'm starving. I said, I know, I can feel your hunger from here. So we just sat there and talked in that little short stint from Atlanta to Greenville. I think about what benefit we are if we're willing to feel exposed and vulnerable.
Everything that you talked about is it can be for anyone. How do we deal with the obstacles, if you don't want to call them walls, that are put in front of us? How do we remove them ourselves? Because sometimes we put them there, yet other times other people put them there. So you can go to sleep tonight, and tomorrow you wake up and there's a wall in front of you or an obstacle. And it's you have a choice. What do you do about it? How do you handle it? And in the reality of your life, it's up to you to handle it. When you give it to your assistant, if you will, they may not handle it the way you want it to be handled. So sometimes we have to get our hands a little dirty. We have to get into the muck. We have to get into the dirt. We have to dig it. We have to move it. We have to pull it down. We have to get a sledgehammer sometimes. And that's not easy. Have you ever knocked down a concrete wall? Those are harder to come down than a sheetrock wall.
Mhm.
Than something with studs, but something with rebar. That is harder to knock down. And I've done them. I've hit with sledgehammers, the big ones. I've had to use a concrete saw to cut part of it off. I've done all kinds of crazy things in order to get the results I wanted. But had I been afraid of it, it would still be up. And so my fiance at the time could not believe what I was doing. And she actually snapped a couple of pictures. I'm like, why are you taking pictures? She goes, because I can't believe what you're doing. But those are physical walls. Those are walls that we can physically see. But what about the hidden walls that are not visible even to the outsider, but they're inside of us because we keep them there to keep ourselves safe. And sometimes we built these walls so no one can come in, to keep people out, to feel safe. And if someone else even tears that wall down or even attempts to, we lash out. Because all of a sudden we're going to be like you were in that tub, naked. And we're afraid of being naked. Meanwhile, you were beautifully made. Your nakedness is beauty. And it doesn't matter the shape or size that you're in. That's your beauty. Never be afraid of who you are. But we build these walls because we're afraid to show the world who we really are. I don't make excuses for who I am. Love me, hate me, dislike me, avoid me. That's on you.
Hmm.
I love me. I will always love me. Because when so many people put up the wall of you're ugly, you're not loved, you're not wanted, I avoided those walls. I said, that doesn't matter to me. You're not tainting me. And I'm suggesting this to anybody who's listening to us or watching on the replay, that don't allow anybody to build your walls for you. You build the walls that are going to matter in your life, that are going to impact you. When we consider your life is beautiful, but only if you make it so. Don't let somebody else make your life beautiful, because they will attempt. They may love you, they may care for you, and they're going to put barriers and walls up to protect you. And that's okay. But sometimes you need to remove those walls because you need to feel. And sometimes those walls and barriers are so you don't feel. Because they love you, they don't want to have you feel hurt. This is why helicopter parents helicopter. They want to protect their child. Oh my God, you fell down. Let me kiss the boo-boo. No, you fell down. Get up. Keep running. It's okay. So when I talked earlier about the people who build our walls from childhood, it starts with our caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're an orphan, someone had to take care of you. Maybe it wasn't a parent. Maybe it was a nurse. Maybe it was a priest. Maybe it was the home that you lived in. Maybe you jumped from one home to the next home to the next home, but someone along the way either cared for you and protected you or didn't care for you and try to hurt you. You need to understand that now that you're an adult, you need to do adulting stuff, but you still need to have that kid inside of you so you can have fun. Because a lot of adults forgot how to have fun because of all the walls they've built. And they're in this concrete jungle, if you will. You got to let loose. You got to have fun. You got to enjoy life. We don't know when our last breath will be. Why fight the beauty around you? Enjoy the beauty around you. So today's episode really demands something from you and I, Tammy. The demand is, how do we help someone who has built up all their walls that hurt them, that define them in a negative way, that define them in a way that they can't express themselves fully to the beauty of who they are? That's the task I think it's in front of us currently. And for me, it's always about showing somebody how much they're really worth. And so many people, they have a glass ceiling. I'm like, let's shatter that thing. Let's break it. Even if it's a concrete ceiling, let's get a sledgehammer, a jackhammer, anything. Let's break it down. Don't be defined by others. Define yourself. And that's the beauty that we can bring to ourselves. That's what I'm willing to share with anybody who's willing to listen. When you consider your life is yours. Don't let someone else define your life for you. You do it. Tammy, you've defined your life. You've had so many ups and downs. You're traveling the world. You're meeting all these incredible people. But their career doesn't really matter. I don't care if they're a celebrity, a movie star, a rock star, an author, somebody on a plane. Their career doesn't really matter. It's the person that matters. And you see them for who they are. And that's the beauty that we have to start looking in the mirror and seeing who we are. When was the last time, and I'm talking to anybody listening to me right now, that you looked at in the mirror and you saw the most beautiful person you've ever seen? Because maybe you haven't. Because you allowed other people's words to dirty that mirror, to put dirt on that mirror. Maybe they say you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. All I'm going to tell you is clean that mirror up, because you're going to see beauty right there. So do that day in, day out, and don't let anyone else define who you are.
I think for me, one of the things that I think that would be very valuable right now is to help people to see how to break down their walls and what their walls are. So as I was sharing this story, and then you were sharing about how I had to tear down the walls, I knew I had the walls. And I was watching, I'm always studying humans. I always study human behavior. I consciously started doing that at 11, and I have a lot of intel because I've done it. So everywhere I go, I'm curious. Everywhere I go, I'm like, what can I learn? You're my teacher. I don't care who you are. If you're a homeless person, you're my teacher. Everybody is my teacher. So walking into that studio and then seeing and watching that energy go from, okay, the spotlight's on her. I don't want the spotlight on me right now. But it was okay, because what I did was turn it and tear down walls. And then I had to start tearing down my walls. One of the things that came to me as you were talking was my conversations now that I met him at the Nigerian embassy where I spoke in Manhattan when I was at the United Nations, is His Eminence from Nepal. They call it Nepal. We call it Nepal. We were in a conversation in text the other day. We've become friends. And he said, "You have things to teach me." And I said, "And you have things to teach me." Because he wanted to come to Bali. I'm about to go Sunday with a client. He wanted to fly over to Bali and spend time with me. And he said, "I can't do it this time." And I said, "Well, I'm going to Egypt in October. I'm taking a group on a spiritual pilgrimage that is closer to you than Bali. So let's talk about that possibility." But I think about even His Eminence, who I had to ask, "Can you please tell me why you're called His Eminence? I don't even know what this means." And he laughed and he said, "I'll be happy to do that." At 4 years old, I was recognized as a reincarnated prophet or deity. My life has been easy. It's kind of like when they recognize the Dalai Lama. This is the influence that this guy has, but he's still teachable. So first thing, get into curiosity and start looking at, where are my walls that I don't even know I have, and when do I put them up? And I'm talking about from my perspective. I'm not talking about what you shared. You might can share how to move the walls that you were talking about to be able to change or shift with the tides, or the fact that you've overcome something and you don't need to live in that wall anymore. So from this perspective and what I was sharing, first is to move to curiosity. Second is, where do I feel I put up a wall and I guard myself? Because it was really interesting, Matiko saying, you're dressing the part, you're speaking the part, you're engaging, your stories are amazing. I love what you say, but your eyes are not. Your eyes are covered with plexiglass. And I'm like, shoot, I thought I was doing pretty good. But I loved it. I said, bring it. I immediately surrendered to, teach me. I want, and that's the first thing, is to get to that point of, I want to grow. I don't want to have these walls. I know I have these walls. You may not even know you have walls, but you might have walls up with one person. You might have this idea of who you think this person is. We have stories that govern our lives. So the first is curiosity. Second is, what does this wall feel like? And when do I use it? When do I pull that wall up? And why do I pull it up? The surrendering to it and going into it is where it really gets real. And that's when healing happens, is when we move to, I'm going to surrender to the fact that I know it's now here. And then third, making a choice. And if you need some help, you get the help, just like I did. I didn't worry about the fact that I had it. I was more concerned with freeing it. And when you shift to that dynamic of, I want to be free, I want to grow, I don't want to have the wall up anymore, that is when the universe is going to bring you people to help you to get the wall down. And they're going to knock on your wall. So as soon as you start the curiosity part, where are my walls that I use as a defense mechanism, or I don't want you to see me or know me? And then surrendering to it. And then asking, how do I tear this wall down? And then watching the universe bring you people or scenarios or ways to think about, or reasons that you had the walls to start with that you can change your mind about. That's important, I think, for people to know, If you were to share how you were referencing walls and how to move them, what would you tell our listeners?
I think you overall, and thank you for asking that. You actually have to recognize what walls we're looking at. And the only way to do that is to maybe even write them down. What's holding me back? That's a wall, right? Is it fear, anxiety, feeling that I am less than, I'm not worthy, I am going to look dumb doing so? Recognizing what's stopping you from being your best version of you. And if you don't know what your best version of you is, it's time to do some deeper inner meditation, reflection, looking in the mirror without putting makeup on, without brushing your teeth. Just look in the mirror and look. Say nothing, think nothing, just look until you see you. That takes work. And I'm not talking about a minute. Do it for 5 minutes, do it for 10 minutes, do it for 15 minutes. And then start talking. I've had people cry. I've had people get angry. I've had people almost smash the mirror because of that particular exercise.
Mm.
Because they fought me on it. After a minute, their eyes were like looking at elsewhere. They were like, they didn't want to look at themselves because they didn't want the truth. Because when you look into your own eyes, the truth is going to hit you. And some people don't want to know the truth. So many of us are living a lie. Why are we living a lie? If you don't believe in God, you have to believe in something. I believe in God. He watches and knows everything. I cannot hide a thing from him. Same thing, you can't hide a thing from you. No matter where you go, there you are. Right? So are we able to love? First, love yourself. And if you can't look at yourself for 10, 15 minutes without saying a word and just looking into your own eyes, so many emotions are going to come up to you. You will learn to define what's most important to you. But without that exercise, you will keep hiding behind that layer. You got to remove all the layers. And this doesn't happen in one sitting. You may have to do this multiple of times. No celebrity became famous overnight. No athlete won the championship in one game. No speaker got on stage and killed it the first time. Practice, practice, practice. No white belt ever became a black belt in one day. You did not become the person you are today. You have changed. What did you drag along the way? What did you drag along the way? Right? So think about your life, how important it is to you. You make time for everything else in life, everything. You make time for watching a television show. You make time for going to the store. You make time to buy something. Listen, today is Prime Day, I think, for a couple of days, and I haven't even gone on it. And people tell me, oh, it's Prime Day. I'm like, yeah, it's Prime Day every day. I am the most important person here, not Prime Day. I am Prime. And when you can consider the beauty in your life, the beauty in your life starts with you. Then look at your partners. Look at, and I don't mean multiple partners, I meant partner, right? And but maybe it's your business partner, maybe it's your your mate mahjong partner, maybe it's somebody in a different business or entity or so forth. But then it's also could be your romantic partner. Look at everyone around you who has beauty, but it's hard to see them without seeing you. So start looking in.
I'm going to offer a suggestion, and this might be good to do before and after you do that 5. I would say start with 5 minutes, because 5 minutes for most people would overwhelm,
Always start
and then
small.
build up to 15. But before you start and after you finish, do what Louise Hay taught. Stand in front of the mirror, looking eye to eye, and say, I love you. I love you. And repeat that a few times, maybe just 5 times, and then do that again after you finish that quiet time of just reflection. One of the things that I thought about too is I have a client who's been wanting to lose a lot of weight, and she couldn't seem to do it. And I was like, well, the way that you're going about it is you're thinking about either starving yourself, which is how you lost the weight before, or it's too much trouble. So she wasn't losing the weight. And then I told her, I said, I suggested go sit in front of the mirror and accept your body as it is. When you're fighting something, the universe says, I have to give him or her more of what they're fighting, because whatsoever you think on expands. So if you are looking at your body, judging it, thinking how big it is, did you know what? She actually started loving her body, and now she's buying clothes, and now she's losing weight, and now she's moving easier. And so it's been a journey for her. But once I made her stand in front of the mirror every day and say, I love you. I thank you for carrying me around. Thank you that my legs move and my muscles move and my heart moves and my liver works and my spleen works. Thank you. Move into gratitude for your body. Now the body is dropping the weight like you, and she's half the size she was.
Right.
She's already half in a short period of time. Now, she had lost weight with me. She was here from Texas, and she was doing a Life and Breakthrough Transformation. She lost 10 pounds overnight. And when she came into the kitchen, I was cooking a gourmet breakfast for her. And she came around. I said, wow, you lost about 10 pounds. And she said, I'm going to weigh as soon as I get back to Texas. But she said, I can see my feet. Now she's half the size of what she was, because she lost that 10 pounds because I helped her with her mind. So the body just went, I don't have to carry this weight anymore. But it was a struggle. It was going back and forth. Then she got to the point where now she's half her size. And that's because she looked in the mirror and said, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being good to me. I'm sorry I curse you constantly. I'm sorry that I say bad things about you all the time. I'm sorry that I look at you and judge you. Wow, I'm beautiful anyway. And now the weight is gone. And she's losing even more. So the way to get free and to tear down walls or move walls is to accept it, embrace it, stop fighting it, and then make a different choice. Change your mind, move to gratitude.
And with that said, we are wrapping up our show today. Thank you, Dr. Tammy, for being here with us.
Thank you.
Allowing me to be here. Do us a favor, join us on the next one. It's going to be in July. Look for our dates coming up. It's going to be phenomenal. I just love spending time with you. So thank you for being here with me. And everybody else, do us
Comment.
a favor.
We'll answer you. Please comment. Tell us
Yeah.
what you're thinking. Tell us what you want to know. Tell us what you want a show to be. We'll do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have suggestions or ideas, but also share the show with somebody who needed to hear today's message, because I think today we went a little deep, and we don't mind going deep, but we don't know exactly what you're thinking, because as far as I know, neither one of us can read minds. But we
Actually,
can
I
read
can't.
messages. We can read the messages that go across the screen, and we'll put them up and we'll answer them for you. So if you come and join us again, don't be shy. Ask questions, make comments. It makes the show that much better. Dr. Tammy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll
Love
see you
you.
guys next time. Take care, everybody.